All right, strap yourselves in because we're about to dive headfirst into the wonderful world of North Korea. A land so shrouded in secrecy, it makes Willy Wonka's chocolate factory look like an open house. We're talking about a place with more rules than a board game designed by a control freak, where the laws are so utterly bizarre, you'll be rubbing your eyes and checking you didn't accidentally click on a satire site. This isn't some dystopian fiction, folks. This is real life, North Korea style. And trust me, the reality is far more baffling than anything we could make up. So get ready to have your mind boggled as we peel back the layers of the Hermit Kingdom and expose the most outlandish, the most ludicrous, the most downright unbelievable laws that govern the lives of everyday North Koreans. Let's kick things off with a real humdinger. In North Korea, even choosing a haircut can land you in hot water. Your flowing locks, edgy pixie cut, man bun, off limits. Only state-sanctioned hairstyles are allowed. The government has a list of approved haircuts. Step outside those lines and it's re-education camp. This is enforced today. In North Korea, having a tough day, want to call a friend? Not a chance. International calls are strictly forbidden. You can only chat with those within the country's borders to prevent the spread of democracy-loving ideas. It's like being trapped in a giant escape room. Let's talk interior design, North Korean style. You know how some people like to hang motivational posters while others prefer family photos or maybe a tasteful landscape? Well, in North Korea, there's one non-negotiable piece of decor portraits of the supreme leaders. That's right. Every single household is required to prominently display portraits of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, looking down benevolently upon their loyal citizens, and don't even think about skimping on the framing. These aren't your average posters slapped up with some sticky tack. We're talking elaborate, gilded frames strategically placed in the most visible spot in your living room. Oh, and did I mention the mandatory daily dusting and bowing rituals? Look, I'm all for respecting your elders, but this takes ancestor worship to a whole new level. It's like a never-ending family reunion, except the guests of honor are deceased dictators and you're not allowed to leave the table. Now, let's talk about something close to many people's hearts, religion. You see, in North Korea, freedom of religion isn't just restricted, it's practically non-existent. The official state ideology, Yuch, promotes self-reliance and considers religion a threat to its authority. This means attending religious services, possessing religious texts, or even openly discussing your faith is strictly prohibited. And if you're caught engaging in any form of religious practice, be prepared for some serious consequences. We're talking imprisonment, torture, or worse. It's almost comical, really. The government demands absolute devotion and unwavering loyalty, essentially positioning the Kim dynasty as deities themselves. They've created a system where worshipping anyone or anything other than the supreme leaders is considered a subversive act. It's like being in a relationship with a wildly insecure partner who demands constant praise and adoration while simultaneously forbidding you from even glancing at another human being. Let's face it, life without music would be utterly bleak. But in North Korea, the only tunes you're allowed to tap your toes to are those approved by the state. That's right, say goodbye to your Spotify playlists, your vinyl collection, your carefully curated collection of 80s power ballads. In North Korea, foreign music, especially Western pop music, is considered a dangerous and subversive influence. They believe those catchy melodies and relatable lyrics are just a Trojan horse for capitalist propaganda. So, unless you're a fan of military marches, patriotic anthems praising the Kim dynasty, or traditional Korean folk songs, you're fresh out of luck. Think about it. No Beyoncé, no Beatles, no Bohemian Rhapsody. It's enough to make you want to scream, but then you remember, even screaming is probably regulated in North Korea. All right, let's talk about the internet, or as it's affectionately known in North Korea, the heavily censored, tightly controlled, and meticulously monitored version of the internet. Forget about scrolling through endless TikToks, catching up on your favorite YouTubers, well, apart from this channel, obviously, or getting into heated Twitter debates. In North Korea, access to the global internet is essentially non-existent for ordinary citizens. Instead, they have Kwangmyong, a state-controlled intranet that offers a carefully curated selection of websites, think government propaganda, state-run news outlets, and maybe a recipe for kimchi if you're lucky. It's like being given a toy laptop as a child, the kind with pre-programmed games and no actual internet connection. You might think you're exploring a vast digital world, but in reality you're stuck in a carefully constructed digital playground, completely oblivious to the vastness and freedom of the real internet. Fashion is about individuality and pushing boundaries, right? Not in North Korea. Clothing choices are state-dictated. Forget skinny jeans or colourful hair. Strict rules favour conservative attire. Men wear somber colours like Kim Il-sung. Women wear modest dresses or skirts. Blue jeans were banned in 2016, seen as Western imperialism. Fashion police enforced draconian rules, turning the country into a sartorial time capsule. Imagine living in a country where you need permission to travel to another city. No spontaneous road trips, no weekend getaways, no visiting family in the countryside without first seeking approval from the authorities. Welcome to North Korea, where freedom of movement is a foreign concept. Ordinary citizens are prohibited from traveling freely within the country, let alone abroad. To go anywhere, you need a special travel permit, and good luck getting one unless your reason is deemed essential by the government. This means families can be separated for years, unable to visit loved ones or experience different parts of their own country. It's like living in a giant open-air prison, where the bars aren't physical but bureaucratic, limiting your every move and controlling your every step. Let's wrap things up with a look at one of North Korea's most notorious policies, mandatory military service. Now, many countries have some form of conscription, but North Korea takes it to a whole new level. We're talking 10 years of mandatory service for men and 7 years for women. That's right, an entire decade of your life dedicated to the military, living in often harsh conditions and undergoing rigorous training. And it's not just about learning to march in formation or shoot a rifle. The psychological conditioning, the constant propaganda, the absolute obedience to authority, it's all designed to create loyal, unquestioning citizens who put the needs of the state above their own. Imagine being forced to put your life on hold, your dreams, your aspirations, all to serve a regime that prioritizes military might over the well-being of its own people. It's a stark reminder of the human cost of North Korea's isolationist and militaristic policies. So there you have it. A glimpse into the strange, often absurd, and always unsettling world of North Korean law. It's a country where haircuts are political statements, music is a potential weapon, and traveling within your own borders requires jumping through bureaucratic hoops. It's easy to laugh at the absurdity of it all, but we must remember that behind these bizarre regulations lies a system built on control, fear, and oppression. These laws aren't just strange quirks. They're tools used to maintain the regime's grip on power and silence any form of dissent. So the next time you want to complain about your government, remember North Korea. It could always be worse. You could be forced to live with the same haircut as your dictator,